So Roe v. Wade has officially been overturned. Hi, it's your girl, Miss Cole. I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this lovely Friday evening. So as you all know, unless you were asleep all day, SCOTUS has officially overturned Roe v. Wade and is ending the 50 years of federal abortion rights. So I'm reading an article from CNBC because their articles sort of gets to the point. So these are the key points. The Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark ruling that established the constitutional right to abortion. Roe, since 1983, has permitted abortions during the first 2 trimesters of pregnancy in the United States. Almost half the states are expected to outlaw or severely restrict abortion as a result of the Supreme Court's decision on a Mississippi case known as Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. Justice Samuel Alito wrote the majority opinion, joined by 4 other conservatives. The 3 liberals justices opposed the decision. Chief Justice John Roberts voted with the majority to uphold the Mississippi abortion restrictions, but did not approve tossing out Roe v. Wade altogether. You know what? Before I read this article, I can't stand people that shadow a fence. Chief Justice Roberts is one of those people that got one foot in with the conservatives, but another foot with the liberals. You can't trust a cat like that. Excuse me. My insomnia is kind of kicking in for me to go to sleep. So I'm probably going to do one article today. But I'm going to read this. The Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision on Friday, overturned Roe v. Wade in the landmark ruling that established a constitutional right to abortion in the U.S. in 1973. The court's controversial but expectant ruling gives individual states the power to set their own abortion laws without concern of running afoul of Roe, which had permitted abortions in the first 2 trimesters of pregnancy. Almost half the states are expected to outlaw or severely restrict abortions as a result of the Supreme Court's decision, which is related to a highly restrictive new Mississippi abortion law. The law will affect tens of millions of people across the country who may have to cross state lines to seek reproductive health care. Other states plan to maintain more liberal rules governing the termination of pregnancies. Supporters of abortion rights immediately condemned the ruling, while abortion opponents praised the decision they had long hoped for and worked to ensure. Protesters descended on the Supreme Court on Friday to speak out both for and against the decision that will upend decades of precedent in the U.S. I'm not going to read anymore because I'm just going to post the article. Now I'm going to say this. First of all, I am a person who's pro-life, but I'm not pro-birth. Meaning, I believe that children shouldn't be aborted. I believe that the fetus has rights. Even though they're not born, but they are created and they have a heartbeat. They have to be protected. Okay? But I'm not pro-birth, meaning that I feel that everybody who chooses not to have an abortion... Okay, let me back up. I'm not pro-birth in the sense that I just want to see babies being born. And then you don't take care of them. A lot of these people that claim to be pro-life, they're pro-birth. They're pro-birth. They're not pro-right. They're not pro-life. They're pro-birth. Now, I'm going to say this. My issue with Roe v. Wade is that they cleaved on to the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment is solely dealing with having the former slaves in this country that were black, they were black, Native Americans, to become granted birthright citizenship. Okay? That was a amendment that was fought and birthed by black people during the antebellum period, pre-Civil War. Yes, there was a white senator who helped to pass it, but he was not the architect of that. They were black, and they were free. What was done during Roe v. Wade in 1973? They took the part out, which is the right to privacy, which entailed that you can't even question a woman's right to want to keep a baby or want to not keep a baby. So they use that right to privacy so that if a woman wants to get an abortion, she had the right to keep that matter personal. That is how it got passed. And it didn't really make sense. So that was my problem with Roe v. Wade. Another problem I had is that you use federal money to pretty much get this passed. I don't want my money going to Planned Parenthood. Personally, as a black woman, because Planned Parenthood was created as a eugenics experiment to basically control black women's reproductive rights to have children, not in terms of the right to abort. Planned Parenthood was never an abortion center. It was a eugenics center. And it was created because Sanger was anti-abortion. She was a Democrat, but she was anti-abortion because she saw many white women were using coat hangers, wire hangers to remove the babies, while the black women were like, yes, I'm pregnant with my 9th child. And many of them had came from the South. She did not like black women unless they were light-skinned, high yellow, or biracial, because she felt that those had more concentrations of white blood, were more intelligent, and could be more trustworthy. People don't know that. So you got to understand Roe v. Wade, Planned Parenthood has nothing to do with abortions. It's about eugenics. But after she passed away, it became, abortion. So it is true. They don't really perform abortion services mostly like that. They don't, because they never did. It's a eugenics center. Okay? What they do, that's the place you go to if you want to basically have your child change their gender. Many people don't know that. But there's a lot of people who are speaking about that, who basically had the procedure but chose not to. They talk about this. Now, getting back to the decision and why people are fearful of it. People are fearful of it because they feel as though, since this is going to get passed, other decisions are going to be repealed. Many people say, oh no, that's not going to happen. Well, guess what? Clarence Thomas plans to repeal same-sex marriage under the federal law. He's planning to repeal it. And the reason why I also say they is because he's with a group of people that are very conservative. It's like an actual think tank. So the only thing about this that they may be itching to repeal Brown versus Board of Ed. What if they're going to repeal the federal laws to protect disabled people? Because the whole thing is about protecting marginalized groups of people. I don't consider women marginalized groups. Because white women especially have benefited from slavery in this country. Those that was here. I'm not talking about those that weren't, their ancestors who weren't there. But the ones that are here, who's a descendant of it, they benefited great. So many of them owned enslaved black people. And many of them was just as brutal, if not worse. So I'm funny about the women. But other groups of people that have been marginalized, particularly blacks, particularly other ethnic groups, particularly disabled people. Okay? We forget about the disabled. We think of color, ethnicity, religion, and sexuality. But we never think of those that are differently abled. That's a big group that has been marginalized, that was completely ignored. What about them? They may want to repeal those rights. So you can clap for it and be like, yay, whatever, but you got to think about the long-term effects of it. Because a lot of these conservatives, they ain't playing. They want to take this world back as far as this country. They want to take this country back, I would say, to like the 1880s, 1890s. If you know where I'm going with this, then you understand why I said that. And when that being said, I'm signing off. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful weekend. Later.